It was the night before, I think it was during the afternoon, rather. The day before, um, I went home from DC and Hinckley shot Bradley. It was like Night Reagan came out and waved to me and stuff. That afternoon, I was playing something on the electric piano at George Washington University. And one of the, you know, Simon Doily types who's full of self-regard because of his competence and accounting, math people. You know how they are. Said something smugly defamatory to me about it. He said, "Boy, if you had thought that out, I would call you an abstract genius," which was to say, that's very pretty, but it's mindless. However you may feel about, my musicality, my point is very different than defending myself from some Simon Doily. What he said that's interesting. If you had thought that out, I would call you an abstract genius. Because what Pittsburgh and Paul McCartney are working with in their cover up and delay of game led to a continuation of the program, even as a million people have died from COVID, is a crosshatch of matrices. They had me snuggled between Leslie's legs with my tongue and said, because of this, I could have saved John Lennon. Almost as if he was a baby I had eaten. And this was a paradigm for the social liberal class that plays mindless music while abstract geniuses are at work. And this is the sum total of everything that Evan Nauer of ATS and Michael Gopnicki of Rusted Root and Yoko Ono have sold as a justification for isolating and destroying a deaf person who was a victim of torture. They used it because they put together that spin control mechanism. Therefore, Diamond Gauls is not standing outside the World Trade Center with a stiletto. Therefore, it is not suspicious that John Stockwell stalked me to Allentown on my 27th birthday, the day after the Wall Street crash and the day after a namesake of Penis Gabriel's personal secretary told me about the day there stood still. Therefore, it is not suspicious that the person who redeemed the script for the Croquet Register Corona, Yoko Ono, John Schulman, was arrested on an $8 million museum heist and book theft. Therefore, it is not suspicious that Peter Gabriel and Robert Fripp announced as their cause that virginity proves rape and used that to Putin Cersei Kennedy, non-waste from Sunday, and various other things that aren't suspicious because of the abstract genius involved in this crosshatch of matrices that had me wimping out on Leslie Katz as they depicted it. Such a wimp out, such a cosmic wimp out, that they chemically castrated me. and Putin, my death advocate. So that's what you got for being identified by the Third Reich as somebody they can use in the city of Pittsburgh. And you can throw away all of the lies that the Jews aren't working with Nazi Germany because that's exactly what Gail Burstyn was doing. Now, how does this come to be significant and important? Well, like a group that goes by Greta Thunberg fans rejected my YouTube video about ecology. I was a little bit hurt by that. I don't expect Greta herself to take very kindly to the fact that I've been smitten by her. I can let that go. I don't need to be enthralled with the media big sister. But it reminded me of the way that my peers didn't stick up for me. The way Glabnicki turned a sophomore miscomprehension into a springboard for Sean Lennon to do genuine evil. Because if anybody is evil, it's Sean Lennon. Getting Shannon Harp's Ripper murdered, helping the people who started AIDS while denying that AIDS is man made, but pinning the tail on the donkey all the same and saying, "You're lucky we haven't given you AIDS yet," poisoning me in the mouth, raping Deaf Jeannie, like as though she's his Korean comfort woman. And then saying, "Oh, my daddy." Refusing to admit that I was tortured had nothing to do with it. Calling me the anti Lenin because his mother is a victim of Hiroshima, she says. The endless victim. Talk about whining for victim status. So it takes significant revisionism, American case history, to pin the tail on the donkey of someone who wasn't even born at the time. And threatening virtual nuclear retaliation and calling themselves restrained because they haven't launched a nuclear attack, restrained because they only raped you, they didn't give you AIDS. And that's Sean Lennon's logic. And he's doing it with the people who were the aggressors, two completely innocent people, and saying, that proves you're lucky. That's his mind. I can't do anything about it. And Michael Glabnicki has this special, balancing prism mechanism that goes around his head like an Egyptian disc. And he says, the sophomores girls said you were icky. We didn't like it. We didn't like it that he cried after we had threw an abortion in his face. He was jealous, and they found the letters and confiscated them without telling me that they knew that I had been given a nerve agent. And many people saw me tortured, and they laughed when Brecker said openly that he dragged me through glass as a child. That was the nicest thing that these people did to me, I assure you. But I remember it, and it was really very sad, pathetic. So that's what they can do. And girls don't like you because you're not a Ukrainian biker at the age of 11, in the age of Martin Luther King, under the brainwashing of the Kennedys. So you got to pay and pay because the victim, Yoko Ono, has your father's dog tag, and we don't know who gave it to her. And they say that it's not an abstract genius at work. Their whole claim is they heard about Leslie first and then got into my stuff and saw what it gave. This doesn't play out in light of what really happened. The long premeditation and planning shows that they were the actual authors of the script. But it's taken as gospel without any question. The evidence, even without the evidence, a person who was rational would be entitled to ask, did it really go that way? Did they ask John Schulman? So it was all scripted. Fluxus, did it really go that way, was on their Howard Stern, Frank Zappa record about Jimmy and Bobby, like, the reprise of Girl Crazy by the Tubes. So it was obviously all planned. And the goblins are amassing for more free smacks. Yeah. How did this happen? Why did this happen? One of the reasons is that Paul McCartney is congenitally puerile. He's so congenitally puerile that he could make it stick. His wormy little pressiness about Jimmy being abstracted by Leslie's lusts, making him a draft dodger when the time came to save the holy man. I mean, as though I was supposed to understand that that was going on, this abstract genius that's going on among these shamans of the Ouspensky circle who spoke in metaphors and stuff through the pen of a really obnoxious Jewish girl from Bryn Mawr. But he's congenitally prissy enough and puerile enough that it stands as more than anything else a memento of his personality. That's what made it stick. The fact that it's so typical of him. That people said, well, that's just the way he is. So that must mean that's how it happened. He pressed out. He found out that Leslie had a whisper campaign going about this poor struggling artist, and we learned that from the script that John Schulman, her partner, gave us. They could have saved John Lennon, and the FBI said whoosh, and Tom Wolfe said just and the JDL said that some creep extolling Goebbels represented them. And that's how they made it stick. When the obvious question is, did it really happen that way? You should at least look into, and all the evidence says no. They were the actual authors. They had a plan. They didn't even have to look at the script. They had it all set up to respond exactly as they did. It was all planned. And that's what makes the Simon Doyley kid interesting. So he said, if you had thought it out, that would make you an abstract genius instead of a mindless sugar plum fairy playing in minor key to because you think it's so specially emotive.